I came home after midnight, exhausted and half asleep. The building was quiet, quieter than usual. When I stepped into the elevator, the air felt cold, almost damp. I looked down at my phone and waited for my floor. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but for some reason, I felt like I was not alone in that elevator.
Then I noticed a light on the panel. A button I had never seen before was glowing. Floor 13, I froze. My building only has 12 floors. There is no 13th floor. I stared at the number, waiting for it to turn off. Instead, the elevator started moving again. The elevator stopped without making a sound. When the doors opened, I saw a hallway I had never seen before. The walls were old and stained. The floor looked wet, but there was no water. The air coming from outside smelled like dust and rust. It did not look like my building. It looked like a place that had been forgotten. At the end of the hallway, there was a door. It was slightly open. A thin line of pale light came through the gap. I waited, thinking someone would step out. But nothing moved. No footsteps. No voices. Only that open door, waiting at the end of floor 3. I wanted to step out, but my body would not move. My hand stayed on the elevator frame. Something inside me knew that if I crossed that line, I might never come back. So I stayed where I was and waited for the doors to close. But the elevator stayed open, like it was inviting me in. Finally, the doors closed. I thought it was over. Then I looked into the elevator mirror. The hallway was still there. Behind me, inside the reflection. The real doors were shut, but the mirror showed floor 13, as if I was still standing in front of it. That was when I stopped breathing. A moment later, the elevator opened again. This time, it was my floor. Clean walls, bright lights, the familiar apartment door across the hall. Everything looked normal. But after seeing floor 13, normal did not feel safe anymore. I stood there for a long time before I finally stepped out. I walked to my apartment door and reached for the knob. That was when I saw the reflection in the small metal plate beside my door. The hallway behind me was not my hallway. It was old, dark, wet. It was floor 13 again, and in the reflection, something was standing near the elevator. I rushed inside and locked the door. For a few seconds, I just stood there in the dark. Then I looked through the peephole. I expected to see my normal hallway. Instead, I saw the long corridor again. The number 13 was still there. The door at the end was open wider now, and the darkness inside looked closer. I stepped back from the door. My apartment was completely silent. Then I felt something behind me. I turned around slowly. A figure was standing in the bedroom doorway. It did not move. It did not speak. It only stood there, watching me. That was when I finally understood. The elevator had brought me back, but not alone.